What's up, everybody? How we doing? I got caught up here by surprise. Wasn't expecting to be right here, right now. We doing all right tonight? We got some of you who are like, yeah, I'm so good. And then there's like 3 guys back there like, nah, I could be better. But can I be honest? Sometimes I come in at night and I'm like, I could be better. Like, do you ever walk into a room like this sometimes and you're walking out from the rest of your life and you feel like you've got the weight of the world just like sitting on your chest like it's a big old rock? And then you come into a place like this and you're like, but everybody else is like smiling, they're happy, they're all having a good time, but like I just walked out of this conversation and I'm really stressed out right now. Like for me, it might be something like I get an unexpected bill or there's something at work that I just can't solve. And I walk in, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to be normal. I'm gonna try to be normal. For you guys, it might be something different. It might be some kind of like relationship conflict. Maybe you stole your buddy's girlfriend, I don't know. Probably not, right? Maybe it's your teacher who is just like so unreasonable that it just drives you crazy. Or maybe it's something like at home where you're just like, there's just so much tension at home, I don't even want to go home. What do you do when you have these things like the weight of the world coming at you from all sides? How do you handle it? David says a lot of times in the Psalms, he talks about like his enemies surrounding him. And sometimes we read enemies in the Bible and we're like, that's not really applicable to me. Like, I'm not worried about like a Philistine jumping out and being like, ha, Steve, gotcha. Like, I'm not worried about that. But that doesn't mean that I don't have like real things that are coming against me, real forces that are coming against me, stress, anxiety, conflict. There are so many things in us that can come up against us in our lives. What do we do with those things? And how do we respond in love when we want to respond in hatred? When they make you really mad and you want to respond in hatred, how do you respond in love? We're in this series called Canceled. And that's the question that we want to uncover today. How do we respond in love when we want to respond in hatred? So let's look at what Jesus has to say about this. If you guys got your physical Bibles, we're opening up to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. We're in the Sermon on the Mount. Let's go, people. And he gives us an alternative here. He says, you've heard the law say, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Pause right there, right off the bat. You see that where it says, love your neighbor, and you see that there's like quotes around it? That means that they actually took that from a text, their law. They took it out of that. But the next sentence that says, hate your enemy, there's no quote there. What happens was they took the law that said, love your neighbor, right? And then culture and the world kind of slipped in there and like, but I'm gonna give you a little bit extra wisdom and make sure you hate your enemy. And that kind of became the norm. That's what people kind of thought of. Love your neighbor, of course, but I'm also gonna hate my enemy as well, right? Jesus says, no, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Verse 45, in that way you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives the sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends the rain on the just and the unjust alike. If you love only the ones who love you, what reward is that? Even the tax collectors do that much. If you only love people who like you, there's nothing different about you. That is what everyone does. He's saying, you guys have been patting yourselves on the back all this time. You're not doing anything different than the rest of the world is doing. And now the world has snuck in and given these tools to deal with all the conflict in your life, the stresses and the people that get on your nerves and maybe your enemies. And the world is like, you should hate them, treat them poorly. The world has given us these tools, and I got these things right here. I got rock, I got a piece of paper up here. I got some scissors. You can see where I'm going with this, can't you, right? The world, I'm gonna pretend like the world has given us this scenario in which we gotta play by the world's rules right here. And they're giving us these tools that we gotta use, rock, paper, and scissors. The only problem is they don't get you very far. You guys have played paper, rock, scissors before, right? Are any of you undefeated? So many people said yes. You haven't been playing long enough. I promise you the game is rigged. You will lose if you play this game long enough. You will lose. It's luck, okay? And the world wants you to play by its rules. Hate your enemy. If somebody ticks you off, gossip behind their back. Tear them down. The world wants you to play by these rules. But what if there was another option? What if God had a better rule? Instead of playing with these things, what if he had a different option? Look at what he says here. He gives another alternative. In this chapter, he says this, be like your Father, as true children of your Father in heaven, for he gives sunlight to both the evil and the good. He tells us to act like your Father, like as children act like their fathers. He wants you to act like your Father. Pop quiz, what was the Father doing in this chapter, in this scripture I just read? He was giving sunlight and rain to both the people he liked and the people he really liked, right? No. He was giving sun and rain to the wicked and the righteous. Wouldn't that be weird if God was like, hey, I like that guy, give him a sunshine. Nah, cloud. He's got like an Eeyore cloud, like wherever he walks, he's got this Eeyore cloud and it's just always raining. That would be really immature. I would do that because I would think it was funny and I'm super immature. But Jesus, God, is way better than I am. And he's like, no, that's not how we play. For both the righteous and the unrighteous, I'm gonna give them sun and rain. I'm gonna give them water. These are two symbols of life. This is how I'm gonna respond when my enemies come at me. I'm gonna give them sun, I'm gonna give them rain, I'm gonna give them water. I want you guys, instead of trying to be the rock and instead of overpowering people, if somebody's coming against me, I'll be the rock, I'll be harder. I'm the rock. Instead, I'm gonna cut them, I'm gonna get them back. These are the world's rules. And God has a different set of rules for you. Be the water, not the rock. I have a Kung Fu sensei, which sounds pretty cool, right? And the other day, he was beating the snot out of me. We were sparring and we were fighting and he was just going to town on me and I was just a punching bag for a while and he just kept on hitting me. And finally he's like, stop. He goes, Stephen, be the water, not the rock. Sorry, my sensei is actually like a retired white guy who drives an electric vehicle and his name is Mark. He doesn't talk like that. But it goes for effect. He goes, be the water, not the rock. I was like, that's smart. I have no idea what that means. He goes, it's a lot easier. If I'm gonna punch you in the face, it's a lot easier to just block, redirect. If I'm gonna kick you, it's a lot easier for you to just, guess what? Step aside. You keep on trying to be the rock, you're eventually gonna lose this game. And this is what Jesus is saying right here. Stop playing the game of the world. Be the water, not the rock. Be the water, not the rock. Because when you're the water, everything's different here. When you're the water, guess what? When the world comes at you and you're not playing by the rules of the world's game, guess what? You can't cut me anymore. I'm not a rigid structure that you can cut and you can hurt. I'm not gonna cut you back. I'm not gonna retaliate. Guess what? I'm just gonna keep on flowing over here, and everything that you meant to wound me is gonna turn into your weariness, because you're gonna get dull and you're gonna get tired real quick. I can tell. You can't cut me. And for those of you who have found that in conflict, your default is just, I'm just gonna turtle here. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna defend myself. I'm just gonna cover everything up. I'm just gonna pretend like it's not happening. Well, I wanna tell you, God paid way too much for you to be hiding in your shame. Whenever conflict, whenever hard times come up, and you just like, I'm gonna hide in my shame. I'm gonna hide in what was. Because this thing happened to me and I don't think I'm ever gonna recover. Jesus paid way too much for you. And guess what? Like I'm telling you to be the water, Jesus is actually the water of life. He was the water way before I ever asked you to be the water. And he came not to condemn you, not to bury you, not to burden you, but he came to wash you and make you clean so you could live a full life and you didn't have to hide and be afraid. He wants you to have the confidence you need to love, to be the water, to not be covered up your whole life. And for those of us who feel like just the weight of the world is constantly against you, everything, just the weight of everything. Come on, bring it on. Guess what? You can't hurt me. You can't be aggressive towards me because all of your aggression that you leads towards me, guess what? I'm just gonna slowly and consistently and constantly, I'm just gonna wash around you. I'm gonna wash away all those rough edges with the radical love of Jesus that takes away every edge. Every time you tried to hurt me, guess what? I'm gonna respond in love and kindness. I'm gonna respond out of God's heart because you can't crush me. And guess what? There's something else that water is really good for. When you want to plant something, you can't take a rock and just beat the dirt. Grow. I'm going to say something super nasty. When you want something to grow, you can't force it. You've got to have a slow, consistent, maybe way too much, flow. Instead of fighting, be the flow that brings life. Like God said, be like your Father. He gives rain to the righteous and the unrighteous. I don't care what they did. They could be really terrible people. They could be your enemies. Be the water, not the rock. Respond in love and graciousness like your Heavenly Father does to people who deserve it and the people who don't deserve it. So I want to challenge you guys as you go to your small groups tonight. Here's a challenge. How do you transform the evil or the hatred in your life and transform it for good?